And oh, that's not supposed to happen. Cody has this information. I do not. It looks like we won't be able to go live.
Does that mean no recording of the meeting?
It,
So no minutes?
It is being recorded. It's not being live streamed. So what'll have to happen is Cody will just upload that tomorrow. So
Not the first time.
yeah.
So it's 6:03, so quorum, called to order the meeting of Coventry Land Trust, and put roll call, so Jenna Odell,
Lynn Carlson,
Josh Chase.
Justine Johnson,
Arthur Chapman?
Rory Comedy. And I'm Maria Bergman. That's all right, I'm part of your,
evacuation instructions.
Evacuation instructions are out this door behind me and down the hall, or out either of those two doors and to the left.
So we have the minutes from September to approve. Did anyone have any issues or corrections?
This is Lynn, on page 5, 6.1. I'm hoping to adjust the top sentence there to say that there are no signs of homelessness or additional ATV damage. And on page 6, the main topic, second topic, issues of interest for the September 16th agenda. This is the September 16th. So I think we meant to say the October.
Yes,
agenda.
yes.
That's it. For me.
Going back to page 5 under 6.1, under Bowden, I don't believe it was a hunting blind, it was hunting stand. Hunting blinds are not usually left in place.
I have two, same on 5 of 6. 6.5. I offered 2 of my cameras instead of 1.
Oh,
And on the first page, under 5.3, my after my name and address, the second sentence where it says Rhode Island Forest Conservancy's organization is Conservators Organization. Just my typo.
Can you repeat that?
Conservators, CONSERVATORS.
Instead of conservancies.
Yes,
Gotcha.
Rhode Island Forest Conservators Organization. RIPCO for short.
I move to accept the minutes with corrections in place.
a second. All in favor?
Aye.
On to our draft calendar for next year. Basically the same, just changing the dates. I was wondering 2 things. The first being, anyone have any issues with the third Tuesday as usual? And the second being, should we move up the time from 6:30 to 6? Did anyone have any opposition?
No.
No,
Or votes for the other way? Stay later.
I don't have a vote, but I do like 6 o'clock now. Okay, yes, that's what
I'm
I'm
in the,
earlier.
exact same, boat.
That's what I was thinking. And I don't think any of us,
I
Have
think
an
if
impact on-
Elsa's going to attend, it's gonna be because she can get here in the afternoon. I don't think it matters. Is she,
Okay,
okay,
I mean, she's got an hour and a half drive, but I
Mm.
think 6 versus 6:31.
okay.
Need a motion?
Yeah,
I'll make a motion to change the time of our meetings for the 2026 year. 6:30 to 6. On the third Tuesday of every.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any other notes for the calendar?
You think land trust days will be October 20th? Not October 20th, but in October again?
September, October,
Yeah,
yeah,
right, yeah.
starting early-ish August. All right, do I hear you looking to approve the calendar for 6 o'clock, third Tuesday of every month, as is? Or otherwise as is. We did for 6 o'clock.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, Chairman, I so move.
Lynn Carlson seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Awesome.
Sorry.
That was nice of them.
Alrighty, on to the finance letter. Lynn, this is yours.
So at our last meeting, last Tuesday, I guess. Monday, thank you. I had provided this draft letter in hopes that the members of the trust could review it and give suggestions on changes that we would like to be made. If in fact we need to send this out in the future.
Are you just? I'm trying to understand this floor. Are you just asking for them to tell you how much to live in the town?
And to get the account number.
What would you do with the accountant?
I would like I'm the treasurer as well as the vice chair, and I'd like to have it for bookkeeping purposes.
But the town's account number with what? Like the budget line account number?
Well, is it a separate account? I guess that's
Yeah.
one question.
It's certainly tracked separately, but I mean, Josh got an email explanation today.
Yep, and,
They'll give you
I
an
can-
updated number amount whenever you have.
Yeah, I asked, today if we could get the, well, I asked, for a few, things, the response, to a couple of your questions, he did not have an answer to the question of, is it, I guess, investable? I'm still not sure that it is, but, he did, say there are no investment earnings on these, funds as they are held in a pooled cash account with the town's general fund.
So that's the answer to the question. It's not a separate account. It's a accounting line, not in QuickBooks, whatever you use, right? So
It's a
That's not
separate
true.
accounting. You know, they track your funds separately, so you've got. $2,929,000 in the account, but in terms of whether they're invested separately from something else. They're not, they're with the other funds that get invested and. You know, the funds don't just sit in an account, they invest them and then. So our account gains interest on that money, on that 2,000,009?
As you just said. that
But
there
the interest
any
isn't
activity.
separate from the rest of the capital.
So as interest
Right.
gets gained, our line item doesn't increase in value. It goes into the town
Correct.
account.
Correct, although I did point out to him. And, you know, it's something that I'm not sure if he was aware of, when Steve Angel wrote the enabling legislation for this board. It says that the interest will go back into your account.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, that's what it says, and he may not have been aware of that.
Because that's a substantial amount.
Yes, how does that get
Probably
corrected?
like 100,000 a year.
And when was
Why
that?
Well, he wasn't aware of
Yeah.
it, so, I mean, generally. They're investing and looking at where the investments of money go on a daily basis. But they have, millions of dollars that isn't just
Mhm.
the land fund, and so they're putting them all together for those purposes. Your funds are in with the capital facilities funds, cause it's capital expenses, and those get invested, but the interest doesn't go specifically just from your funding back into there, and it's a good question to see if he can do it separately.
Well, and one of the other questions is, there's such restrictions on that money as far as being to be used for appraisals and so forth, but the the money generated from interest may be less restricted. So, you know what I mean? Like
It would be restricted the same.
Same way?
Sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, it says the finance director of the town shall prudently invest in accordance with policies available, which is what he's doing. Assets of the fund, and the income therein shall accrue to the fund. So that's a question that I posed to him just before I left, was if that's possible to isolate the fund from your account. He's not doing anything nefarious. He probably never saw this before. Steve Angel didn't share it around.
Mm.
So it may be possible that he can isolate the funding that you have to be able to figure out what part of the accrual of interest or revenue from bonds or whatever can go back into your account. So I don't think it's impossible. It's just an accounting measure that he can explore and make sure that they can track it with the auditors.
Alright, so how do we elevate this? Cause I would point you to Rhode Island General Law, Chapter 86 of where established the land trust, and it does say those exact words that the interest would be accrued to the fund. Now, if we're not getting the interest that is being made off of the money that is held in the fund for the land trust, then there needs to be an accounting. We're owed money. The land trust is owed a considerable amount of money.
Don't
Mhm.
get excited about it. Let's let them figure out if that's possible.
All right, can we get a time frame? What's a
That's
prayer?
a question for Josh to talk to the finance director about.
I mean, and how long has it been going
I'll
on?
ask him.
I do agree, though, that those funds are owed us, whether they can separate them out or not.
Well, he'd have to separate them out, at least for accounting purposes. If a pot of money this big being invested is gonna be more attractive
Mhm.
depending on how they're gonna invest it, but that's something for Josh to.
Yeah,
work
we
out
may
with
be a
finance
small
director.
part of your overall.
Right, but can he track? How that, I mean, they literally look at where the funds are invested every day. So how can he, can they figure that out? So. But I don't think it's like a big elevated issue. I think I pointed out to him and he probably wasn't ever aware of it.
Or even if the land trust money is a percentage of the town's account, then I would think they could just prorate.
Yeah, I think he can probably figure it out.
Yeah. So Lynn, as far as your letter goes, it would seem that there is no account number to be acquired for the
Right.
land trust monies, but there is an account number that we should have access to for the donation.
And I on that had trouble getting a Venmo account, as I do not want to also get a PayPal account, which they require, or an organization type of account. Trying to set it up as a regular business account will keep you posted. And that was today.
Regular bank account.
so too.
I haven't
Venmo
used it.
can-
Yeah,
it's
it's
like-
like for a
it's
bank.
Then
linked
it's
to a
still
bank.
to a bank, and if there can be just a donation account established for us, then that way there would be no risk of things magically disappearing.
It could be a difference between somebody's personal stuff and municipal finance stuff too.
Does he say when he'll have an answer as to a business account?
He does not. I mean, The answer I got is different than the answer I had on Monday. So he is actively trying.
which is good.
Okay, so I guess, with regards to my letter then, we can just, so if this needs to be sent in the future, I'll just revise it to exclude the concern about getting the amount. And then hope that we can get a regular accountant. So we're coming at this from a standpoint of, lack of communication between the land trust and other members of the town, so it's been difficult to get responses.
But what's been difficult?
Getting responses about information about this Venmo account,
Finance director,
balance in our account.
ATVs,
the balances.
We've had several.
What was the second thing you said?
ATVs, the only reason
ATVs.
we have severe ATV problems in properties, we only just got a response this morning after several years of trying.
And who have you been talking to?
Previously, we attempted contact Chief Heiss, and he would not respond or speak to us for whatever reason. And back in October, a resident emailed Scott actually about a fire on Whipple, one of our properties, and Captain DeSisto, who's now detective captain or detective, as was on that, and so I brought up the ATV too. And it's only since then that we've had this, but they've dug trenches at Whipple. You know, people have also
What
Torn
were
out
you
board
wanting
lots.
them to do?
enforced it. BTVs are not allowed. Dirt bikes are not allowed. We're very concerned about the trails as well as the safety risk.
Yeah, it's hard to enforce things like that.
I'm aware, but DEM enforces.
Yeah.
And by not enforcing it creates an attraction.
Even filling in the holes, that's the first step.
Mhm.
They're probably 3 or 4 foot deep. I mean,
Mhm.
some of them.
There's several of
Who
them.
would fill those in?
Someone would need to.
Yeah, wouldn't be the police department.
No,
No, but we,
Yeah.
it would be, the issue is the police department was not enforcing.
if no
We
effort
couldn't
is
even
made
get
to
any effort.
enforce and somebody breaks their neck in one of these holes, it looks like we are condoning something that we're not.
Not
Yeah.
exactly, but yeah.
There's a liability
This-
issue.
I mean, we have
Risky
insurance
situation.
on
Yeah.
all of the land that we own,
But
but
regardless,
yeah.
this happens at several properties.
I would recommend to you, invite Captain DeSisto to your meeting and talk about what's possible, what they can do, what they can't do. I mean, I'm run into situations where it's the same thing, running, trying to enforce things that are not right on the roadway. It's hard for them to do. They're not there. Do they even have an ATV to go out and chase someone off? I don't think they do. Like it.
They could confiscate the ones that are running all over Whipple, you know.
They tear
If they
down
do the
signs
effort.
as well.
Yeah.
We've had also signs broken at Bowden.
I don't want to speak for the police, but it's very
hard.
difficult for them to catch up with an ATV that is going through a property that, they could barely catch them either on the bike path or, so they're not gonna,
Right.
they're not gonna catch them. The best thing that is deterrence is if they have a presence somewhere, then it may force those riders to not go to those properties and go elsewhere.
We did identify where an ATV was living, we saw an ATV off of behind the Whipple property, and again, just the opportunity of someone stopping, a police officer stopping there and saying, this ATV, I hope doesn't go in this property.
Yeah.
That forewarning would have been helpful as well.
I wouldn't.
And-
What have you been doing? Send them emails?
We were attempting to get a conversation with Chief Heiss for several years. That went nowhere.
Okay, well, let's
so-
start
so
over again. You got a
now
new chief, you got a
we-
new
So that's what I was, so-
people. I would invite them to come to your meeting and they can tell you
yes,
what's possible and what's
just this
realistic
morning-
and what's not.
he emailed, Detective DeSisto emailed
Uh-huh.
with some information, which will be good. I know DM is able to enforce it. Like, I understand we have 700 acres, they have 22,000 acres, the state does. It's hard to be on top of it, but the way DM does it, which is what Coventry offered, is cameras.
Yep.
DM will put up a camera, you get the license plate of the truck backing up, that dumps the ATV, and you send a ticket to that address.
Invite them, especially since they're new.
Yeah.
You know, invite them to come, like, sit down, talk to you, tell you what their options
Mhm.
are. But, you know, give them plenty of time so they can study what their
Mm.
options are. If you have a contact for DEM that does the enforcement, I would share it with them, and maybe they can look at one. You
The
know,
other issue
what
is,
they do, I mean, I know we had issues with somebody at the Briar Point that kept getting into the lock, and, you know, we ended up putting cameras up to be able to, you know, even trail cams or something.
Yeah.
That might be an option. But yeah, no, you got people that are newly promoted,
Mm.
good time to talk to them.
I like the idea of, rather than putting poor Josh in the middle all the time, of, you know, inviting some of these people that, I mean, the finance manager would be a really good person to talk to, I think, about a lot of these things, and then also the police.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the finance director, is pretty flat out, you know, I'm sure he would meet with maybe one or two of you, but during the day would probably be better. He's literally here sometimes until 3 in the morning, so. Yeah, if you know, maybe set up a meeting so Josh and maybe a couple of you that are available during the day can sit down with him. He doesn't, you know, he doesn't have an issue with looking up, tell you, this is how much you have in the account, you know, that takes him a minute, but, you know, I'll talk to him too about that issue with the interest, but as far as the police go, invite him. You know, invite him to come to one of your meetings and talk about what they can do realistically, and what they can't do. In terms of repair to the property, I'm not sure whose responsibility that would be. Yeah. Do you have a budget for maintenance of any of those properties?
Our operating budget is less than 5,000 a year.
Well, now's the time to make the,
But
start getting your
that is
requests together.
for donating flavor, which helps.
Yes, now's the time to start putting an actual budget together. I'll be looking for your budget request pretty soon. We usually start the budget process on Christmas week.
Should that be added to the December agenda? If we need to ask for more money, we should
Mhm.
think about all of these
Yeah.
things we really feel like need to
Yeah,
get
so that'll
done.
be an item for next month.
Yeah, and what they're for and all that. Yeah, I think that would be a great idea.
Yeah, because we've struggled with that for years, just the fact that, you know, it's not a lot of money for all the things that we're trying to do.
Yeah,
We also have a manpower issue.
That's
I mean, and that's not anybody's
But
fault,
if
but
we can
it's,
pay somebody who to come and
Yeah.
do this, and then it goes as a budget request. right?
yeah, and land trusts have always struggled with that. I mean, you know, the land trust that I managed, I mean, they were doing all the inspections of their property. I'm assuming you guys are doing that. The annual inspection.
Mhm.
Yeah, you know, but you know, and they were actually, we have really, really pretty aluminum signs that would, you know, go on all the properties. But you know, where are your funding coming from for the appraisals and all that? From the
Operating budget.
from the big budget, not from the $5,000.
no.
No,
from
from
the
$5,000.
We can only use, that we were told we could only use the money in the account for purchases of land. And then we could get the appraisal money back if we actually made the purchase, but it's such a cumbersome situation. But if we have interest that's accruing on our monies, that could be something we could use for other, if we can get it, yeah, if we can use that.
I mean, that's been a major obstacle to
Yep.
going forward with these properties.
Right.
Because we're
Yeah,
trying to
sure, it's
spread it
expensive.
around, well,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
appraisals.
who's doing your title searches?
We had, David Igliozzi, I believe.
Okay. Okay, well, that's good. You guys don't do them? You don't go and look at the titles? Go and, I'll show you how to do it if you want. Actually fascinating. To go in the vault and look at some of that stuff. But yeah, and I would start to think about what you want, budget wise. You know, and certainly the argument about, using the interest or revenue from the investments on your funds might feed well into the discussion about your budget.
Wanna do that?
Happy to participate in any of those if you thought it'd be helpful.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
So Josh,
Mhm.
getting back to the letter,
Yep.
I kind of don't understand where we are with the vendor account. We need to get people able to give us donations.
Mhm.
We Still have an outstanding debt from Linda.
Yes,
that We haven't
that,
been able to deposit.
so,
That might
the-
become void.
yeah, that is,
Six months.
that's
yeah.
a problem of, Terry, who is the only, person in our office who can, deposit checks, has been out for the last month.
Okay.
That's the, reason on the check, not being, deposited yet.
What is it being deposited into?
Well,
It's
that's the
in-
other-
that's the other
into
question.
the general, land trust account.
We were hoping that it would be a donation fund,
which we
Because
also
now that
have an
we're-
Account number for.
you know, a thing.
You're
Because
a
it's
thing, but you're not a 501c3.
No, but we're allowed to take donations.
Yeah, you're allowed to take donations, the people can't necessarily, they can't file for a tax deduction, but,
Hmm.
you know, but you can take donations.
Yeah,
Alright.
and so the Venmo thing came out of, we know we can take donations via check or cash, but a lot of people don't carry those anymore. So
Yeah,
if we're an
Yeah,
event,
and it's easier
right,
for somebody.
yeah, you know, give us things, so stand here, yeah,
Yeah,
But we're not even sure we have a donation account to put a check in.
exactly.
right.
It
but
would
there's a-
go
there's
into
different-
the general account. Well, excuse me, the general land trust account.
Or operate, where the operating funds are.
Yes,
Are you sure about that? Cause accounts payable and accounts receivable are not necessarily the same account.
I was, if I recall correctly, I was told by, Mr. Savetti that donations would go into the general land trust account.
Excellent, okay.
So we don't, so can we attach the Venmo to that or no?
I believe that's what he's
I
trying
always try to
Okay.
do that.
to do.
But if you've got a check, take it to town hall.
I have a stack of that high from.
From donations.
No.
Yeah, we wish.
Yeah,
Yes,
Um,
those are all our checks.
yeah.
Well,
Sal, go ahead.
We have a check, that is a donation to the, land trust.
Do you have other checks?
We do.
Oh, take them to town hall, you should be sitting on checks.
Who exactly would I, take them to?
Mark or Christina,
Christina, that's her name.
yeah, Mark or Christina. Those checks. Do you guys have a check reader? You run the check through and it automatically takes the payment out of it?
We do not.
Okay, you should get one of those too, but, go to town hall. And take the checks. They let me.
Okay, so I guess, I will hold on to this draft letter.
Mhm.
And if we need it, we can bring it up again for discussion at another meeting. Perhaps we keep it. Definitely keep the question of the Venmo on the agenda.
Mhm.
And we move forward, we'll hope that in the next month. We can resolve this.
Mhm.
This is, the Venmo thing has been going on for
8 months, I mean,
Yeah.
a long time.
Yeah.
a long time. Where we
Just-
haven't been able to get responses. About things, so. If we're a little,
Quickly,
if we're talking about, a little feisty and elevating things,
That's why.
this
Yes.
is why because we're having trouble.
Alright,
Well, I wouldn't say you're not getting responses. I would say you're not getting resolution to them. You're getting responses. Josh is getting
Yes,
responses.
Hmm.
Perhaps
but
between Josh and maybe one other member of the, or two of the committee could meet with Bob and address those issues directly head on
Yeah,
and, give him enough lead time to prepare, and then you can,
research it and
Oh.
all
You know,
that stuff.
then you can get direct responses and direct any kind of perhaps action right there.
Yeah, I mean,
see, we're in a position
sending
where.
letters isn't like a,
Okay,
it isn't,
this is
it's
productive,
not a conversation.
right?
You know, like have somebody sit down, Josh, you can invite me if you want, I can help, sit down, make your list of questions that you have. They have doing things that people's private citizens do, like Venmo and that, but then trying to do them on a government wise, they're apples and oranges sometimes. They have all this GFOA, all these standards and all this stuff and auditor stuff that they have to make fit together. But I would encourage you, set up a meeting with them. And, go through your questions about your investments, your Venmo, tracking.
Can we do that? I mean, we've always been under the impression that we kind of have to go through Josh and Doug to get to.
Well, so
Josh
I
should do
think what you're
liaison.
suggesting is I ask, Robert to, set aside a half hour or,
Probably an hour.
what have you, and, I mean, I'd be happy to.
Yeah,
And can we
you're
do
allowed to
that?
talk to people.
Can we do that without a quorum?
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely, you wanna do
Yeah.
it without a quorum, otherwise you gotta post the meeting.
Right.
What's your quorum size?
Or
well,
4, so 3 of you can go with Josh.
definitely thinking you two particularly, Justine and Lynn. Because you two have been really driving the bus on this.
Yeah, any 3 of you can do anything.
Um,
And no, absolutely, you can meet with staff. I mean, you might go through your liaison, but. Yeah, of course.
It's good enough.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good on the finance letter?
Yes. Unless anybody else.
We good on the finance letter?
Mhm.
All right, on to 4.3, the big ticket, tonight. So first, thanks everyone for coming. I know it's not a usual time for us, or usual date. But this is important. So as you all know, appraisals and easements have been a big question over the past few weeks. And we've been trying to do a little bit of that. I don't know if I want to call it internally because I'm external, but basically this is just to have a discussion on our appraisals and our easements and different processes. And we're also prepared to walk you through our existing processes of our scoring sheet and our strategic plan and all those documents, as well as any other questions you have.
So the reason I kind of got alerted to this was, the one, the seventh. I'm saying, right? When things go on the council agenda, they need to be looked at, approved in some way, shape, or form. That one, I think, came across my desk as like the day the agenda had to get posted. So I looked through the documents and didn't find the standard calculation that's used to do the appraisal for development rights. You use the standard for the property that was done before. Although there was something about calculating in somehow some cost of improvement of a roadway.
yes.
Competitive.
Why?
Because,
Cause no one does that.
That was after the fact.
Yeah, that's not,
not for, Monday.
Amended, okay?
but why did you do that?
Because that was asked by the appraiser on the Monday appraisal. Because there would have had to be the person who would have developed the property that ended up under the conservation restriction would have had to improve the roadway to get to those parcels.
Okay,
And so the idea was that they would that would be an expense that the applicant would have to incur.
as part of
So,
the development.
yes. And
Okay.
so that would be, that would have to be subtracted from the
The equipment,
cost of the
Right.
upfront
okay.
appraisal with development rights.
That's not always normally done. That's not a normal thing. So I think you're adding a step that you don't have to do. So when that packet came through and I looked at it, I didn't see the regular before and after equation. So I was sending emails to Josh and to Doug saying, you have to do this the same way every time. You have to use the standard before and after equation. You can't do appraisal of one property one way and one property another. I mean, in that particular property, the amount of money that you were gonna pay for it far out exceeds the assessed value of the land. You could buy that land for the amount of money you're gonna give. And the equation wasn't done the same. So when I was asking questions of it, Doug decided to pull it off the agenda. And in conversations with the town manager, we want to make sure that that you're using the standard equation that all the land trusts are using, for all of the ones for which you're buying development rights. Now, I wonder, have you ever actually worked with one of the, I know there's a municipal coalition or whatever it is, a council, but have you ever actually talked to like one of the professional full-time land trusts? Like Aquidneck Island is the one I've worked with before when I worked for the city of Newport. Have you ever actually talked to them?
We work with the land with Kate Sales, Rupert Pride, yeah, those guys, yeah.
The
And they
council.
represent both professional and municipal.
Right.
The
They,
thing is,
they do, but
Aquidneck-
they're the municipal ones. I'm referring to the professional ones because this is what they do all the time. So our thing for having, I am glad that got pulled off because the amount of money didn't make any sense. The two things. One is, and I'm here to help you every step of the way. Again, I want to see you have the best, most consistent land trust for a municipality. Looking at, and I'm gonna go backwards a bit, looking at where you are actually targeting lands to buy the development rights or lands to buy. The enabling legislation, both on the state law level and the town level, references the comprehensive plan. Now, the comprehensive plan we have is 25 years old. Yeah, the one I love it, that it's on the website and they actually took the cover page off. So you actually have to go through and read the document to realize that it's 25 years old. So look at what is in the current conference, sorry, I have this cough, get rid of. Look at what in the comp plan, what's in the proposed comp plan. But actually go through, and I don't mean right now, but
But we have a scoring sheet.
no, you haven't, I got some, the scoring sheet's different, scoring sheet's different. What I'm talking about is looking at your, 10,000 foot level. What lands fit in with lands that your comprehensive plan would encourage you to look at? You've got a scoring sheet for the individual land. I'm saying look at where you can protect buffers that need to be protected. You know, is it along certain river fronts?
Well, that's what this is it's within a lot of protected land. You don't see a lot of that in the Northeast.
All right, so that's one way. I'm not gonna talk about individual property right this moment. I'm just saying, overall, look at the map, look at the GIS layers and go, okay, these properties are, you know, in this area, the follow wildlife corridor, protect, you know, a buffer to floodplain, or in areas that are actually under serious development pressure. You know, and look at that globally and mark out on a map, these are lands that fit in with the state law and the comp plan before you decide whether an individual piece of land fits. Does that make sense?
It does. We've also looked at properties that, because of the cumbersome nature of how this process works, we've lost properties that would have been great for us, the Boxfield property, Mende, Hayes, McGuire, just because we can't get past whatever the confusion is about getting from a landowner who comes and tells us we're interested in something, we do the site visit, we do the appraisal, and then it stops. And then there's this period of time that goes on for a year, sometimes 2 years, before the landowner even gets an answer of yes or no. And that's where it gets very frustrating, I think, for us.
Well, that's where I'm saying, you know, look at the map.
No, that's what we do. We found places in central Coventry, all over Coventry, not just in
Like
Weston.
shade out on
Yeah.
a map the areas that you're looking for first. So, and you're saying you've already done that. Can you show me that map?
We can do that. What I'm saying is when we have these properties come up, we put so much effort and time into it. It's not like we want to get all of these properties up and all these properties in, because we can't get through a single property that it doesn't take a year or more to get
We
through.
don't, so in other words,
You gotta
We
go
can do-
backwards first and do the mapping exercise.
we can
first.
do the mapping exercise.
Excellent.
We can figure out what properties we'd like to target.
What
However,
corridors of properties?
Yeah.
we can
Yeah.
do that.
Excellent. We gotta do that first.
Well, that's all a great suggestion. We'd like to do that. But when someone approaches us with a property that they would like to donate to us, give to us, sell us,
Right.
give us the development rights for, we're going to act on that.
If it's in that map.
But
But
that's
that's
not
not
in
in
that
that
map. This
map.
area
Why-
wouldn't have been within that map. The point
But
is.
you haven't created the map.
But
That's
why
the thing.
does it have to be in
Yeah,
that map?
right.
Because you need to make sure that you have, you know, looking at it comprehensively,
Yeah.
what areas of the town you would like to be preserving,
Right,
as opposed to, hey, Joe brought in his property, hey, that sounds good, you know, like, you need to develop a map first.
We appreciate this.
It helps you get, well, it might be a little more than a suggestion. You know, and you need to make sure it also protects you from ethics issues. It protects you from, hey, a friend of, council member XYZ, wants you to buy the rights of his land,
Okay.
but it's not in some mapped out area of things that
We
But
have
that's why we have the
natural-
scoring
natural-
sheet.
That's why
Right,
the scoring
exactly,
sheet's
but
in place.
What
procedurally,
comes
this-
in the
I
afterwards?
think the question that we were talking about on Tuesday is. I think our understanding, please you guys correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm the newest one here, but well, yeah, I am, because
You
we
are.
have legacy.
Like a fine
I
wine.
think our understanding was our job was to evaluate a piece of property and it would go to the town council and. We didn't necessarily, in fact, I think in our memo, we didn't say, we recommend that you spend $655,000 to buy this property. We just said, we got it appraised. This is what it was appraised for. We talked about whether we were gonna somehow negotiate with Pettigrew and decided that wasn't our,
Not our
job, and
yeah.
that would be the town that would argue for why it should be a lower value, you know,
It went on
pay
the
less.
agenda for the town to approve $665,000 by the development rights for that property.
That was
but-
our
but the-
recommendation.
Yeah, but the point
But,
is,
but it can't go to property that, to
procedurally,
the council though.
why wouldn't it get to the town council to be heard? And have
Because
the town
now you're
council ask?
negotiating in public. This guy thought he was getting $665,000. And you didn't follow,
But we're a public body.
you're not independent of the town.
Right. Yeah, but this meeting happens in public, as does town council.
So in other words, Mr. Pettigrew knew the amount that we had on the evaluation because he was in quote, in attendance at the meeting where we voted to approve it. That's how he found out that
Which
that
anyone
was the
can find
amount
that
of
out.
money.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
and there's, talk to some of the land trusts, cause they don't always do it that way. Some of
But
them,
that we're
some of them
legally
have-
required to do it that way because of open meeting laws.
that's fine. That's, if you have a quorum, yeah. If you have a
Mhm.
quorum,
We did.
but you followed a completely different appraisal method.
We don't pick so the appraiser was different because there was a conflict of interest with the peer-based appraiser. And it seems that appraisals are slightly different depending on who does them. There's no one right, wrong, or
No, you
Right or
decide
wrong
the
way.
method. You decide the method. You hire an appraiser
We've
that
never-
uses that method.
We've never, ever had a precedent set for us to follow a specific method.
but you
in
have
all
to.
of our.
That you're gonna have to.
Going forward, we'll,
You have to use the
Okay.
same before and after method. That's
for
the,
the same appraiser?
No.
no,
No.
no, you don't hire a painter and tell him to paint
Right,
your house whatever color you want. You drive that train. You hire an appraiser that I sent Josh a list of the appraisers that Quinnick Island is using. One of them is definitely on the state list. You tell them how you want it appraised. If they can't appraise doing the before and after method, you don't hire them.
well, and that raises the question about how much is this gonna cost, because we've got $5,000 in our operating expenses, the government rate appraisal.
$3,500
Yeah.
because $1,500 is taken right off the top.
Right.
For administrative
Yeah.
costs.
Who takes that up?
The
The
town,
town. We have
That's interesting.
$3,500.
I've never heard of that before.
It's, if I recall
Like payroll
correctly,
fees,
it's, we have
It'd be salary.
$1,000 that is set aside for minutes. And then
So, cause someone else
77 in
does,
payroll taxes?
cause you
Yeah.
hire someone else to do the minutes?
Yes,
Okay,
we've got
a minute taker, that's fine.
Cheryl. I forget her last name. Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
you know her.
No, it's not- I don't, unless it's, the only Cheryl I know is the woman that comes to the council meeting all the time.
Okay. Huh.
So, some extra background on the appraiser. Again, we've been working on this property for over 2 years now. We couldn't even find an appraiser to
Right.
do it for the amount of money that we had available. And
Right.
so, at the last minute, to save this proposal, Doug McLean was able to find some money in his budget to make up the difference between what we had left in our budget and what we needed to get this payroll.
What was
Yeah.
the conflict with the other appraiser?
She didn't say, she just said she had, no, wait, she did. She had worked with him before. And had
Mr.
been, yes, and had been a consultant for him before. And thought that it would be a conflict, and I
You
had
can always
to,
ask the ethics
I'll take
commission
it a
if it's
word.
a conflict. Yeah, I mean, she didn't wanna do it.
She didn't want to do, yeah.
Yeah.
That's, yeah, she didn't
Yeah.
wanna do it. Yeah, no, there's more than one appraiser.
Yeah,
out there.
so, I went on the MPA, I found 4 or 5. Nobody responded.
Mhm.
Why can't we go to the appraiser? I mean, and I think maybe you did, but if we go to the appraiser that did this and say, we would like you to recalculate using this other method.
So.
Yeah, that's what that's the last I heard that's what was happening, but then there
Yes,
was this
and
whole thing that Dan and I don't agree with about figuring out the cost of improving the road.
well.
But that's just gonna drive the price down. I mean, like, that seems like a responsible thing to do, is
But
to
we
be
usually
realistic
also have
about.
a cap on like Aquidneck Island is 20,000 per acre. There's a cap. And you need to have a cap. But yeah, okay, so if you're gonna go through and do it the same way, they're not doing it now, or
So
where is it now?
I asked the appraiser about his method, and his argument was that if the land didn't have any development rights left, the land is essentially without value.
That's philosophical, that's not an equation, yeah. Then he's not your appraiser. Yeah,
Then we're stuck with having to pay for another appraisal
So
that we
there's another
kind of
year.
can't afford.
how much was the appraisal?
3750.
Let me ask Dan and see if we can find it somewhere else.
I mean, yeah.
Cause it'd be the appraisal and title search.
Mhm.
Yeah, what you're saying you've been using Igliozzi to do.
For Mende, I believe we used David, yes.
Okay. Yeah, well, send me an email, cause I'm off tomorrow. I'm off on a long weekend, I don't wanna.
You got a bad cold.
I just, no, I'm kinda going out of town for fun and I don't wanna forget things that I did the last thing. So send me an email, I'll ask Dan if we can find the money
Okay.
somewhere else. And have it appraised the same method that, the other property was appraised.
And then send it back to the town council.
Once you have established that you have a standard that you're using, then we'll let them go forward to the town council. So you just need to come up with how you're overall targeting properties, not individual assessments. And keep in mind too, that farmland gets, done based on soils.
Hmm.
Did you have soils worked out on that property? You know what the soils are there? Cause that's
We look
why
at the-
farmland is preserved,
Right,
it's
we
the
looked at
soils.
the GIS layers and the portion of the property that is going to be retained by Mr. Pettigrew for his historic homestead and farm is prime farmland. Portion of the property that's under consideration for development rights is not prime farmland.
See, it's all about the soils, if it's not really good soils, it doesn't qualify.
In regards to
Right,
farmland.
and we're not assessing this as for farmland, we just want to get the development rights
We're assessing for general conservation.
for forest.
For forest, but it's not
For
forest.
and open. space.
No, it is
forest.
mostly
Part of
forested,
it is.
mostly.
I mean, what I looked at,
And wildlife corridor.
Correct,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a really big ticket item.
Mhm.
yeah, and for that, again, like, what my folks did was, do the GIS layers. You can use the ones that are on DEM site, shows where the wetlands are, shows where the rivers are,
We
You
did
know,
that
have-
for this property.
but have that as an overall thing that says, okay, these are properties that, properties within this, and put it up on your website,
Is it,
are the ones that you're gonna look
Mhm.
to offer. And I would encourage you to look at the urban core too, like that, that abandoned golf course. would be an amazing property to have. But, you know, look at that stuff, start with that foundation first.
No, it definitely is ideal for a big scale. Part of our issue with the urban is if something's put to market, we can't move fast enough.
Right.
That's a problem.
Well, let's figure out how to fix that.
So that'd be really great because we've been trying to fix this issue for God only knows how long.
Years.
Yeah, and
Yes.
we have a plan right now to put together a letter to send out to properties that we're particularly interested in. Maybe we should do the exercise of
Yeah,
trying
Do
to
the
overlay
and
it.
then
That's what I'm
use that
talking
to
about.
target these
And
letters.
then target them.
But you know, what 1% of the people that we might want their property are gonna be interested in selling. So when somebody comes along that is interested and the property has significant value for wildlife corridors and so forth, I mean, I just think like, that's great, we can do that going forward, but for this particular property, we do feel like it has value and would like to proceed. Yes, we would love if we could pay less for it.
Mm. It was the number was a lot to all of us.
Mhm.
Yep.
We discussed it at length.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're not realtors. So our job is more to look at just the holistic value of it. You know, what is the soil value? What's the wildlife value? What's the access value? What's it, you know, all those things.
And then,
And that's how we value.
so just back that up a bit and let's see if we can get it appraised using the before and after method. And you also have to come up with, you know, talk to some of the other professional land trusts, a cap per acre.
But the question, you said that what was going in front of the town council was a recommendation to pay that full amount.
Yeah.
But our memo that we put together does not say that.
So
So-
what were you thinking was gonna happen after that went to the town council?
The intent was for them to just.
Negotiate.
Yeah.
To
Negotiate
negotiate it.
or
The solicitor, usually the solicitor when in front, when
Would you
we,
negotiate before it goes to the?
we're not in a position to negotiate. We don't have that in our
Right.
bylaws. Our bylaws specifically
Do you
state
have
our
bylaws?
responsibility.
Yeah.
That, other than what was approved by the council?
That's the ordinance. We have bylaws, we have a strategic plan. We've
Yeah.
been working
Bylaws.
on redoing our administrative work over the past couple years.
historically, what happened when we we're able to buy something, we've had a property presented to us, we did the walk, we did the scoring,
Yeah.
we did the appraisal. We reviewed it, voted on whether or not the appraisal, the amount, and so forth. Then that went forward to the town council, to the solicitor. And then he, at the time, whether it was Nick Gorham or, I think it was Nick Gorham at the time, it must have been, we bought something.
Probably. Yeah.
Would negotiate with the seller's attorney about this is the price and go back and forth, and then they would make the purchase, and it would be approved, and then it would go from there.
Our sole authority is to make
backwards.
recommendations to the town
Correct.
council.
We agree with you, we are so handcuffed as far as what we're allowed to do, and so, you know, we wanted to negotiate this down, but we just felt like, okay, our authority is over, now we turn it over to the town council and hope,
The
and
town council doesn't negotiate.
but could direct a solicitor, yes, this is a valuable property, and maybe, you know,
Get the solicitor involved before it goes to the town council. Go to the town council with, we wanna buy these development rights, here's the deed. You have all the deed restrictions set up? Like last I knew, the properties that were bought don't even say land trust on them, and they
That's
don't
a
have
different issue.
restrictions.
Yeah.
That's another issue.
You know, because a farm, if you're buying farmland,
What
there are restrictions
Right.
on what,
you can do with
you know,
that.
you can end up with a, and, you know, if you don't even know if you're buying a big old PFAS problem,
Well, that's why.
you know, you don't
when we
have
look
the
at
soils analysis.
The
for that
Boxdale
stuff.
property, we didn't want the dam that was a part of it, but
Oh,
we
yeah,
couldn't
no,
get that, we
Yeah.
couldn't get that, we couldn't get that past the, and that, again, that was up
Yeah,
Howard Avenue and Black Rock. I
sure,
forgot.
everybody will give you a dam right now.
It would be a
Yeah,
perfect
no.
location, but we got hung up.
I'll give you- Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, that's
Can I-
also why we have in the ordinance a little caveat saying if we need to sell something, we can.
Yeah.
Like if we discover. it's-
Yes.
there is,
Right.
that is in,
Right, we
it's
stay
in
away
the
from
state,
dam.
it's in the
Yeah.
state law.
Can I go backwards for a moment? Is your suggestion that we do the mapping and stick to those areas to safeguard the land trust from having somebody view the land trust not as a cash cow, but as a,
Partially.
as
So
a,
you're being strategic.
yeah,
Yeah, not just, hey, this guy said he got a letter saying somebody wanted to develop, I'll send him a letter.
Yeah.
He and I could spend,
Yeah,
we
which is
got
not what-
$300,000 for that
We
too.
have had people come in, with unreasonable requests, and we said, we're not even gonna entertain it. So take
Yes.
it off the table.
Good.
So
Yeah,
we do
good.
do that,
Yeah, or they come and they, they think they'll get much more than they will, and
right?
this takes a long time.
Oh yeah, no, this guy came to the counter and talked to me, he had stars in his eyes, he was ripping mad. Yeah, he was under the impression he was getting $665,000. Oh, so it's not gonna happen. Yeah, your land is appraised at, it went from land value of 108 in 2004 to 269 on his current assessment.
That's
600
that's the house, the park.
No, that's the land only.
Is that the parcel though that is?
How many
that's
acres is
Where his
that?
house is, that's just not, those aren't the parcels that were.
Oh, that might be true.
Mhm.
This is 798 Nichols.
Wait, may I?
Yeah.
So his house is here. And we're negotiating for the entirety of 3.
Yep.
And a
Part
portion
of
of
that, yeah.
4. Without the house, he's gonna retain the house, the development rights will occur here on this property and this property.
Yeah, so that makes
So
sense.
there's difference in
Mhm.
value.
But yeah, he was convinced that was what the council was approving. So was everybody else.
Who's everybody else?
The town manager and I and somebody else that looked at it, finance director, I think. And so you gotta come up with a process first.
Apparently there's a misunderstanding about how we have traditionally gone about obtaining property.
But that was a process we've had since, I think, the
Mhm.
very beginning. I mean, I've probably been on the land trust the longest. That's when I came in, that's the process we use, and it's the process we
Have you
followed. right?
bought other development rights?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we ask the solicitor to negotiate this, who pays the solicitor?
He's already on
He's on
payroll.
payroll.
So the town will, I mean, who approves him spending his time doing that for the land trust?
Me, Dan.
That's how it went in before. We
Yeah.
would present it, and the package would go, literally a package, the appraisal and everything, and the recommendations would go to town council.
That's
go
what
to
I'm
the
saying, is the
solicitor.
town council
Yeah.
approved and said, yes, we should negotiate and
Yeah.
set the solicitor off to negotiate. But before we get to the town council, do we have the ability to say, hey, solicitor, we need you to do this work for us?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's what he would do,
Yes.
and they would negotiate.
Do it
We would
first.
see, after we submitted our
Before you
recommendation.
put a number out to the
Yeah.
world.
So why didn't we do that this time? I guess I was under the impression we couldn't do any negotiating before.
We
going to
didn't get
town
that
council.
far.
Well, you threw a number out to the
Well,
world.
Yep.
You know, I got the
So-
stuff for like
we
noon, the
always-
agenda needed to be posted at 5.
And it was
Yeah.
supposed to go to the town council, and they would review it and
Town
do,
council
Yep,
reviews it,
right,
and
yeah.
sends it to the solicitor.
Right,
correct,
that's what we understood.
That's what Rory's saying.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm
And
not
that's
sure
the
that that
process.
was-
Town-
But that's how it
And
went with
the
like
town
the voted and
So how would you get the town council to approve something for $665,000 and then only pay the guy
I
300?
don't think we were expecting them to approve that
No,
number. We were expecting them to say, we will proceed to
Then it shouldn't have
negotiate.
had a number on it.
That's what we've been required.
We didn't
That's
say
what
we
we
want
wanted
to
to
do.
spend this, we
We have
said the
to just
appraisal
submit
came
them.
in.
We have the
Submit the
appraisal,
appraisal.
even when we get the appraisals, I think we use white appraisal for a lot of them, it comes in with that, and I believe the landowner has the right to see the appraisal.
Yeah.
So
Sure, of
it's,
course.
so
Yeah.
the landowner has plenty of time to see what the appraisals are, because we.
Sounds like the flow chart's a little squirrely. Yeah, sounds like the flow chart's a little squirrely. So what I would say is,
We didn't know that there was any other way to do it. That's the way it's always been done.
I just don't understand why the solicitor would do this work for us if the town council hasn't approved it. Approved that he'd do that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it seems like we can.
think-
well,
would.
but really the
Would.
staff would be doing the work.
Yeah.
Josh should be going through, if you're interested in a piece of property, you know, you get the appraisal done using the standard method that you're going to adopt. And then look at where it comes out, if that sounds like a reasonable number. You know, and, you know, you need to come up with a per acre cap. You know, you need to come up with a per acre cap. And then, you know, what goes to the council. Which should have been looked at by the attorney. And it should have, you know, a resolution saying the land trust on behalf of the town wants to purchase XYZ and do you have any documents that are the attachments to these easements that are getting filed? That say what restrictions are on the land, you know, organic farming practices or keeping animals out of streams, yeah, cause there's restrictions that go. And you can get those from the other land trust. There's been an attachment that goes with those that gets filed with the deed. But you guys should be creating those, and it also. Lets them know what they can and cannot do with the property, they can't build on it, they can't, cause the only properties I've looked at. That were bought through the land trust, they just said they're now town of Coventry land. They didn't have anything to do with the land trust, they weren't protected at all, they didn't have any requirements for. Not
Which
illegal
was
dumping or,
what the solicitor was trying to solve when he last year, I believe, right?
Yeah, and creating the ordinance.
Yeah.
Because
yeah, but every one of those individual properties needs to be refiled.
it
They have
does,
no
Yeah.
restrictions on.
Mhm.
Has that been done?
well, no, some are protected. Stella Hall is not, I know that one.
Yes. Yeah,
But there's something that is part of the file deed that says what they can and can't do with the property.
there are restrictions on record for several of our properties.
Yeah, they all need to, otherwise they're not really protected.
Yeah.
You know, they need to say, you
We
can't build on it.
all agree that the issue is we've been,
I'll help you if you want, I'll help you write them if you don't have them,
yeah,
you know, come up with a sample.
part of the issue is things have been so slow with solicitor work
Yeah,
that,
amen.
so that's been the issues, you know, Mende has been going on in some shape or form for over 3 years now. And, you know, since
Right, cause it
that,
backed up to even creating the whole enabling legislation, like
correct,
the land trust was never actually created.
which was,
That was within the
It
time
didn't-
I've been here,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, and so we need Mende done first, which was last year, and then, you know, now we need land trust, and, you know, just, everything's been backed up.
Yep,
So we're looking forward to seeing them in our name.
but who's working on that? Are you working on that?
Interim solicitor
I
started tomorrow.
I am not currently working on that. I was
Okay.
under the assumption that was above my head.
What was about that?
The act of getting them in the land trust name.
No, I can show you how to do it.
Even, like, wouldn't that be revising a legal document?
Yeah, but some of them can be revised by the tax assessor or. Yeah,
Really interesting.
yeah, but do you have the document that needs to be filed with them for the restrictions?
Not for the ones we do not have restrictions on, which is
Stella
Stella
Hall.
Hall.
But do we have a?
Do you have
a
restrictions
template
written for any of the
right.
other ones?
Yes.
Can you send me a couple of those?
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I'll help you look at them.
yeah. that'd
You
be-
know, I mean, we can come up with all right, for this property, check this box. You know,
That would be great. Yeah,
figure it out, so. You know, I mean, I've gone as far as, you know, I mean, here's a can of worms. If you buy a piece of land, you shouldn't be holding the easement. That should be held by someone else. You can't hold the
Mhm,
easement
right,
on
yeah, yeah.
yourself. So like
Mm.
the Whipple property, who holds the easement on it?
I believe it's DEM.
Excellent, that's what it should be.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's
you should-
just, I think Bowden and Mahoney are part DEM as well.
I'd have to check.
Yes.
I know it's in the sheet of all the
Yeah.
properties that you and I worked on.
Yeah, we also, in a different matter, I was reviewing Bowden's management plan last night. We need to put up a sign saying it was bought with DEM funds.
Mm,
Okay.
Yeah.
I can help you
For
with
our sign budget.
any
Yes.
or all of this stuff, whatever.
Yeah, that would be.
Whatever you want my help with, I just need you to make sure you got some overall layer of which properties you're interested in before you send them a letter, you know? And, or they approach you and go, oh yeah, this one is in the, along this stream, you know, just use the DEM layers and put them together. You know, the floodplains, all of that stuff,
You
you,
build those things.
Yes, I've already started on it.
Excellent.
But
The
again,
layers.
yeah, that's the 10,000 foot level, and then you've got
Right.
the assessment levels for the individual properties within
Hmm.
when we do our site walks, I put together the BIS layers for the site. And so that we know ahead of time going in, what we're looking at on that property.
Mhm.
In terms of floodplains, water bodies, rivers, wetlands, all those
Excellent.
things, historic, cultural,
Yep,
cemeteries,
Yeah.
all of it.
good,
So,
for individual properties.
right,
So yeah, just do
Hmm.
the overall town layer, so
So-
you're targeting
may I
targeting
ask,
properties.
once we have this overall map. And someone comes to us with a property that is clearly important and significant to us.
Mhm.
But it somehow fell outside the cracks of the overall assessment.
Mhm.
Do we just say, sorry, we can't help you? Or we're not gonna
Possibly.
consider it?
Possibly, it depends on what reason you would want to make an exception. What would a reason be, other than
Avoid
they want you,
development.
other one,
Avoid a cul-de-sac going in the middle of a
For a
protected
solar
area,
farm.
yeah,
Or like on the biological and cedar swamp.
yeah.
yeah, but a cedar swamp or a bog should be on your 10,000 foot protection
Well,
layer.
Young layers are not 100%.
Well, it's better than what
Sometimes
you
there's-
have now. You don't have anything
We use
now.
those layers for individual properties.
Yeah, for
So,
individual
I
properties, but
see.
nothing comprehensive.
But for the point
That's
of
why it
action
references-
now,
That's why it references the comprehensive
for the
plan.
point of action
Yeah.
now, those things were all taken into account for the Pettigrew property.
Mhm.
And so, we would still like to move forward on the
Yes.
Pettigrew property. We
So-
would love to get the price down, but,
So the Pettigrew property, you need to have it appraised using the before and after method. Yeah, you need to have it appraised using that method.
and you're
And
gonna help
you'll
us
ask-
find a way to take
You'll
that.
ask for help in financing.
Yeah. Josh's gonna send
We
me
have
an
no
email
money.
to remind me on money. I'm gonna do my best to try to find some money.
We just don't wanna lose another year.
No, when that's the problem with it,
Right.
then even though we have this list of places we wanna look at, if we can't be efficient in executing the purchase of the property after we, not entice, but we get the person on board, we have to be able to have a turnaround time that,
Absolutely.
once is that it can't go on 3 years.
I
Yeah,
feel
no.
like with the Mendes, because they've been doing that for eons, that
Right.
when it's all said and done, I have to make a personal phone call and apologize on behalf of the town to that, because
Yeah.
it's taken so long.
What's
What part of it-
new
what
in
part of it
what's-
took so long?
That's what I'm wondering.
Oh, it was approved last year
Yeah.
in September.
Yeah,
To get closed on
by the land trust.
the council,
By the council.
town council.
Oh,
Is it a Steve Angel thing? Is that a Steve?
Regardless,
Steve
it
Angel
shouldn't
thing?
have happened. So.
Oh, yeah, but I can't do anything
Well,
about it. I'm
No,
just
so-
asking what, was
It
it
was
a
probably
procedural
Steve
issue or
Angel.
stuck with,
right.
because he had such a long list of
Yeah,
things that.
and then
everyone was
we
waiting.
are stuck a little bit on the appraisal. It's a bit of a catch 22, and I think
Yeah. I
I
think we
think
need to work on.
the
some
issue
steps
is-
review.
so. This whole town is trying to. I think of it as riding a ship, and maybe this is because I work in the maritime industry. But I think we're riding a ship, and I just think
Absolutely.
we're all trying to figure this thing out, and there are going to be bumps in the road.
Mhm.
But with the understanding that we're all trying to, like on our behalf, conserve land, the town, to get better managed, so.
What I tell people is. Big ships don't turn on a dime.
Yeah.
Yeah. And where we're lacking on things. our checklists and procedures and doing the same thing more than once. We've had such turnover and people that are new to everything, you know, that they're like, oh, that you do something one way and then the next thing comes up and you don't do it the same way the second time. You know, like you gotta come up with a checklist. You know, what I'm gonna suggest to you is, okay, let's get Pettigrew through by doing the appraisal over the same way it was done on the other property. Once we get the appraisal done, we'll work with the attorney to figure out exactly, you know, and we'll work together to come up with the appendix A, attachment A that goes with those, with that deed that shows what all the restrictions are, what he can do, what he can't do. You know, that his expectations for your going out and inspecting it, you know, once, twice a year, whatever it is. And the way to get things done, but like, I didn't have a whole lot of problem getting things turned around from Steve Angel. Because I didn't throw spaghetti at the wall. If I gave him something that says, here you go, I did the homework, I did the research, here's the draft, what do you think? As opposed to, oh, we want XYZ, and then, oh, sorry, we haven't heard back from them in 6 months because we didn't give them anything. You know, if we get the appraisal done, you know, work on coming up with something that says, we're gonna follow this standard procedure for appraisals. You know, let it be known that's, you know, so you don't get somebody and come up with the cap, so you don't get someone like Mr. Pettigrew who's mad at me now. He thinks I took it off the agenda. Come with all the documents as close as we can. And then we'll look at them with the attorney. Take it to the council, get it done. You know, I just gave away house. Actually not house, the old old Summit Library. I gave to the man across the street. The town had no reason to own it. It had a huge hole in the roof. It was a historic building. It didn't take me that long. It took longer for him to get the nonprofit status than it did for me, because I wrote up the deed. I did the title research. Gave it to the attorney and said, how's this? Looks good, sign it. He turned it around in an hour. So you need, you know, the more you're got something ready, the more it'll turn around quicker. Coming up with those checklists, but you know, I'll see about finding the money to get that property reappraised.
We just, I mean, I think.
I hear your frustration. Listen, I watched your last meeting and I loved whoever said, who's this Maria person? And why did she get to take our item off the agenda? And it's our money, we get to spend it however we want. I'm like, okay, let me make sure that I attend that meeting as much as possible.
We
But
just,
very much frustration.
we need the rules of engagement here, I think. I mean, we've got this tiny little budget that isn't enough to pay for decent good appraisals, or certainly not
cover
what
what
we
need
to
to
do.
do.
not even one
appraisal.
appraisal.
We're getting all the other things.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah,
like,
yeah,
no.
and then our understanding that we're not allowed to even like speak to each other outside of this room
Who told you
about
that?
town council
That's open
things
meeting
because
law.
of open meeting law, so
You could, any four of you can't,
Yeah.
But
you
then
can
you-
speak to
Do
each
it.
other, do it more
Three of you
often.
can go meet for coffee if you wanna.
Right, but we
Yeah.
can't, it can't be like three of us, because then it's a running meeting.
Yes, it can.
No, it can't. We've been told by the ethics commission.
We've been told by
cannot.
ethics, yeah.
It's in the training.
we need to understand that, because it
That's not
limits,
true.
I mean, if we could have taken that appraisal and gone, you know, worked on it outside of this public meeting forum
course.
before we brought it to the, you know, came to the group and discussed it, that would have been great, but we are so, our understanding is we're very restricted in the kind of communications or work we can do outside of this room. And, I certainly didn't understand that we could request, the solicitor to go to work for the town, for the Coventry Land Trust before we bring something to the town council.
You're
So-
board,
None of us
you're
do that.
just like any other board.
So we need to understand.
You're not a
both
separate
those
entity.
things. So,
The land trust is not a separate entity. You're a board like the planning commission, yeah, sure, the solicitor works for you.
fantastic.
No, now we know.
And then,
So-
another thing that might be helpful is a better understanding of, and maybe a real reevaluation of how that, the fund, the big massive fund, how money, what can monies in that fund be spent for? Cause it really makes no sense.
Well, look,
that we can't
Let
spend it
me
on
do
things-
some research on that also.
Cause
Cause
we,
some of that ties back into I mean, I printed out most of the relevant state law. But let me,
Yeah, you think,
Yeah.
the process and the expense of leading up to purchase of a property would be
would
available.
we consider
to us.
acquisition?
Plus, also, it says that the land trust will manage these lands. Well, if we can't
you are
utilize
responsible for management, yeah.
Right,
with what money, the
But
budget.
what
that
do you
we
call
have-
a management? But you're doing that once a year inspection. So if it's an easement, Mr. Pettigrew owns the property. You go out, and then literally what I would do with my land trust, we have probably the first municipal land trust in Maryland for Annapolis. And once a year, we would do it in the winter on the weekend, we would get the bus from the senior center. And we'd all go out and look at these properties. We get the short bus, we go out and look at the properties. No, Mr. Pettigrew has a requirement to do certain things
Mm.
on that land. You don't have to do it. You
if
have to
there,
tell him he has to do it.
which is not an issue for the easements, it's for the land we own outright, like Bowden.
Oh, Sullivan.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
had, and part of getting the money is we have to maintain a forest management plan and implement the forest management
Right.
plan. Well,
Yeah,
How do
like
we,
timber harvest.
that's that's management.
So
How do we do it?
I would suggest that it's budget time coming up, so there's costs associated with all of those
Yeah,
action items. What is the cost? And then ask for that in your budget. The worst that happens is that the town manager or the town council says, no, we're gonna keep you at 5,000 instead of upping you to X amount or Y amount. But if you have justification for it, then why not ask for more and see what happens?
So do we?
I wouldn't
until-
suggest going from 5,000 to 15,000.
Do we have until December 31st to get quotes from, to do all of this work that we think we're responsible for
haven't-
doing?
I think you have longer.
I
than
think
that.
it's longer than that,
Capital budget is usually late January.
somewhere in there.
So then the operating budget would be after that,
But
February.
the good thing about municipal work is you can cheat and look at other people's budgets. Look at some of the other municipal land trusts and see what funding they get. It also helps you make your argument.
How do we do that?
Call them. Look on their town's website, find it.
Every town website has.
Every town website has a
their
budget.
Either under the finance department or,
Gloucester would probably be a good one for us,
Yeah.
because they're municipal.
Gloucester?
Yeah,
Yeah, just go on there, find the land trusts or, find who their liaison is, and call them and say, how much you getting in, give us do you have a breakdown you can share? You may actually be able to, that's something I would use that. Are you guys a member of that? Land Trust Council?
Yeah.
You are?
Mhm.
Use her.
or be seeing her on Saturday.
Yeah,
Nice.
use her, cause she can, that's a beautiful thing, like, if I have a clerk question, I can tell Joanne, and she can put something out that goes to all the town clerks, cause. Do you have somebody in here that's on, like, a group email with all of them? Are you on, does she, with the land trust council?
Yeah, yeah, I'm
Use
the
them.
main contact to Kate.
Yeah, so send Kate something saying, hey, we wanna, find out what other people are getting budgeting.
And a
That's,
breakdown.
yeah,
like, when you get the 5,000, is it just is there any breakdowns? I guess there kind of is between minutes and as far as what that might entail, like out of this 5,000, we think we might use this amount for this and this amount for that, or
Is
is
it
it just,
broken down at all?
or is it just kind of, well, we got 5,000 last year, so we got 5,000 this year.
Yeah. take
Take 1,500 off the top, so then we have 3,500.
And
And then
then,
appraisal usually is 3,500 or more, like more like 3,700. Some we've gotten quotes as high as $5,000 and $6,000.
it
The difference
used to
between a
be-
skinny appraisal and the full appraisal.
The one
We
that-
tried to go to skinny appraisals for 1,500, but those weren't very comprehensive, but if we needed to do 2 or 3, we would do that.
So you could build into a budget and say, we estimate as the land trust, we're gonna do approximately 2 appraisals a year. Okay, well, so for each appraisal, you know how much they are, here's what you need. We need a forest manager, we need to enact on certain forest management plan items. Well, we would need maybe approximately this amount to, and you don't need to know specific amounts, but you may know approximately
Yeah.
$1,000 to, to manage certain trails and do stuff like that. And then you've kind of built your budget and you've justified your costs. And then when you go, it's the town manager and finance director, and then it goes to the town council, they should be able to see exactly what those items are for. And then they can say, okay, well, we're gonna, maybe you only do 1 appraisal this year, sorry. And we'll cut your forestry in half. You have to make 2, but at least you get a
Yeah,
little
you
bit something
negotiate.
extra.
Yeah, and having, some backup for what other towns are budgeting gives you some credit to say, this is $5,000.
budgets may be less than ours.
But then don't use
Well, then
them.
don't use those.
Yeah.
Find ones that are more.
Yeah.
Or they may have better access to
Yeah.
their land trust monies, the larger pot too.
Well, that's the
That's-
question.
Well, that's a question that we need to,
Are we asking them to release money out of this account that we have, or are we asking for separate money?
The interest,
Separate money.
the interest.
well, you'd
accrued
be
on-
asking for, well, right, those are all
That would
questions
be
that go on a list of questions and require some research, because you guys might want to do the research too.
Mhm.
Look at the enabling legislation that the town set up, look at I can even read these, Title 34 of the state law, 42. There's a few, if you look at yeah, there's a lot of stuff in Title 42 of the state law that covers land trust, Title 34. Actually, what I can do is give this to Josh.
Yeah.
And have him scan it and send it to everybody, and then I'm old school, you can just give it back to me then.
Sure.
You should see all the trees I've killed in my office.
We were just saying that at the start of the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Third time I've heard it in an hour and a half.
Yeah, no, listen, I gotta say, I'm an ecologist by training, I went to Unity. Ecology and natural resource policy is my undergrad. You have the best opportunity of a board of any of the other boards. Think about it. You get to be the ones to preserve land into perpetuity. And what a great responsibility that is.
That's why we're here, and that's why we want to be able to
And I
proceed with our mission.
yeah, I hear your frustration. I was like,
If
no
all
one
we
even
get to
corrects
do is take
somebody.
care of trails, that's not really that isn't a very feel good, responsibility to have. So, because we are so handicapped.
Well,
think.
when you talk to folks from the land trust council, how are they maintaining their trails?
Well, it depends. So a lot of them volunteer for, a lot of them do it themselves. Like, I know Gloucester does a lot of themselves, a lot of them also have staff.
Yeah.
The 501(c)(3)s, which obviously we don't.
Yeah, the ones that are like professional ones that have lots of people that aren't commissions of towns or whatever.
That's been,
They're full-time, that's what they do.
right, then that's been
Yeah.
part of a problem, which is just to, I don't know if there is a solution to it, but because we're all volunteer, I say I steal a lot of his time as much as I like to, I can't take all of it.
Yeah, well, there's also some overlap with like, Tuxet River Authority, some of those organizations that are doing same work, they're doing the same work you're doing. You know, and how are they maintaining it? They've got properties and trails and they're maintaining them.
Yeah, and we've looked into like, we're working on high school Boy Scouts, all
Excellent.
those groups as well.
Takes a lot of time.
It does.
Coordinating volunteers is, sometimes people get to the point of like, oh my God, I'll just do it myself. Yeah. Anyway, I will help you however much help you want. I'll come to your meetings every month if you want, whatever I can do to help you get over the hump. So we can get to the point where it's obvious what needs to happen next. You know,
Thank you.
yeah, no, don't take my pumping the brakes on the Pettigrew property as me being a goon. I really just want to make sure that we have a clear path forward and, you know, let's maybe spend a little time getting process stuff together. You know, we can invite this listener to come and once you have an outline of how you think it's gonna work, we'll have them come to the meeting and go, okay, this is how we think it should work. You know, like write it out first, don't throw spaghetti on the wall, and have him take a look at it and go, okay, this is how we understand the process to go. We, we know what our overall comprehensive look is for targeted properties. We're following the same appraisal method. We've got an appraiser. We might even want to issue an RFP so that we have an appraiser on the hook that will do the work for us, for the town, for you all. You got a process for what documents need to be together, who needs to talk to who when. You guys are allowed to talk to each other.
And who do we need to talk to with ethics commission thing to get?
What's the
This-
question?
I think the problem may be that I have always held the opinion that replying all is bad and that shouldn't ever happen. And so-
That's okay.
And-
Yeah, that's correct.
And so I
That's
think
correct.
part of it is that I'm squashing the outside conversation out of an abundance of caution.
Yeah, but so when I send something to the council, it pop in capital letters says, do not reply to all. They'll reply back to me. And I can summarize what people had. You're not supposed to work on a document together outside of your meeting. Can you sit down and can any three of you have a conversation over emails? Absolutely you can. Yeah, I would encourage it. If you're really gonna try and do all of this work and once a month by getting together for 2 hours, it's gonna take an awful long time.
Correct, that is the problem.
Yeah,
Is
no,
that-
you
are
can
you-
communicate with
Meetings
each
are getting
other.
later and later and
Yeah,
later.
they're going.
Is
Yeah.
that what the town council does?
Yeah. Yeah, we send stuff to the town council daily
But
that
like-
says, do not reply to all, and they'll
But you
reply
don't have-
back to me.
If you don't have a
But
quorum, then
within
you
that,
can
so-
talk, you two could meet for coffee, you could. text
Any
each other.
three of you can email each other all the time.
But then how do we prevent a running meeting? Which is what
Don't-
happened to the Bonnet Shores, fire district several years ago.
Did they have a quorum within their,
They started to, so I think I've heard about this a couple times, they were like emailing or discussing something, these couple people, and then, well, person X talked to this person, which then became more people, and then became basically a running meeting.
So. But staff people,
Right, it's fine, it's
Yeah.
just like,
right, you
just
could
trying to
get
figure
into
out the most
danger if
efficient
it's the
way.
two of you, then you add a third.
Exactly.
And then this email chain suddenly throws a fourth in there, then yes, then you're definitely treading into waters you don't want to tread
But if
into.
Josh sent an email, if you said, hey, Josh, can you find out XYZ? Josh can send something to everyone. And you reply back to Josh
Individually.
individually. And then Josh can say, it appears the general consensus is. And send that to all.
But, you know, but you're saying like Lynn and I could arrange to go talk to this financial director
Yeah.
guy, and we would have to meet ahead of time to decide what we
Mhm.
wanted to talk to him about. And then we would do that and then come back to the group with,
Totally.
Mhm.
Any three of you, anytime.
okay.
If you're
Yeah.
more comfortable, just make it two of you.
And
Right.
we don't have to like say, okay, we're gonna have a subcommittee that gets
No.
together, okay.
No, you don't.
Okay.
No, you gotta be able to. If you can't do work in between meetings.
We agree.
Never do stuff. Yeah, no.
Well, even when we were doing any type of trail maintenance, if there were three of us on the trail doing trail maintenance, we were advised not to talk about,
Don't talk about
stuff.
stuff,
don't talk about any land trust business,
Yeah,
even if it was
just
two or
do
three of
trails.
us,
just do trails.
just do
Mhm.
trails.
Okay,
You don't seem
Okay.
to agree.
I don't think it's that big of a deal. You're not talking about things you're gonna vote on. You're not talking about things that you're gonna deliberate on. Can you imagine?
No,
Oh,
mostly we're
no,
talking
that's
about the trash
ridiculous.
that's been dumped there.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. And you don't need to post that as a meeting. I can take all the town council all together on a tour of all of the town facilities, which I hope to do before the budget. And we can post it saying the town council is gonna go out and do. That would almost be like, okay, we're gonna take you out there and you can't talk to each other. Think about it. Yeah, no, we have to be honest. Don't talk about things that
It's
you're gonna
good.
deliberate about. Yeah.
It would make things far more efficient.
Especially if you're seeking resolution to certain things that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
timeliness is.
Right, that it's 3 weeks later or 4 weeks later, we're meeting again, what has happened and nobody's really communicated with each other except at the meeting. And then you're finding out then, and that's maybe where a lot of the delay is coming in. Now, I'm not saying there isn't delay on the municipal side because
Right.
municipal government moves very slow and hopefully those processes will speed up, but on your end,
Cause we've
by
been
communicating
hampered.
more, you can put a little more pressure on, hey, haven't received an answer yet, and then maybe it goes on somebody's radar
Yeah, you
that
can get,
that
like-
fell off.
You know, I send follow-up communications to people on the council all the time about things that came in front of them in a meeting, so-and-so wanna know, about something.
I guess for part of our
And I can
problem.
send them all something, say, don't reply to all, but
Mhm.
you asked me to look into this and, here's the policy analysis of it or whatever. I'm sorry.
That's okay, I guess some of what the concern may be is, in your case, you're a staff. I mean,
Mhm.
we're not,
Yeah,
we're appointed,
And we've had the fear of
Volunteers.
God given to us by
Volunteers.
the ethics commission.
yeah, so,
So.
like,
what else?
can we not?
Well,
Should we not?
the presentations every
The
year.
State Ethics Commission.
Yeah,
Oh, like what we did
Mhm.
yeah.
in here, yeah,
Also, keep in mind, you're advisory, so you have
advisory.
no power to spend money on your own, to really your
$5,000.
that's true.
And to be really honest, because you're advisory, you don't have nearly all of the ethics rules. You don't have to do minutes. You don't have to post your meetings. You don't have to do a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I.
No,
It's good that you do.
it's good that you do.
Yeah, transparency is
Yeah.
better.
The community
Yeah.
expects,
Yeah.
but in terms of the Secretary of State's rules, because you're advisory, you don't have the same.
me? Well, excuse me, you can apply to us?
Most biggest smile I've ever seen on his face.
Yeah.
He hates
No,
doing
it
this, sir.
Anyway, so just.
Check with Joanne.
Okay.
Your town clerk is your OMA expert. Because you're advisory, you're completely different than a board that has some judiciary function, like the planning commission or the zoning board. Yeah, your rules are actually a little more relaxed because you're not making any decisions.
Mm.
Well, that makes total sense to me.
Yeah, because I,
But we are making decisions
Yeah.
about.
You're
You're
making
making
recommendations.
Yes.
You
Well,
can't
you have to
write a check and buy that property. You're
What if-
making a recommendation to the council to do it.
What if we're making? What if our on agenda, we have to talk about buying money for signs?
Or a big management item.
We're
like-
making a decision about spending that money. Does that not then have to be posted or?
Well, you're
posted on
gonna
the
post your
agenda?
meetings anyway. I'm saying don't get so worried about working together. Josh can check with Joanne on, you know, the difference because it's not as
Not as structured.
it's not as structured. You're not,
We've been too careful.
Been too fair.
yeah. No, go crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, on that note,
Yeah.
yeah.
And if you ever not sure, call Joanne. Because Joanne is your certified town clerk and it is her job to make sure that everybody's abiding by the Secretary of State's laws and all of that open meeting stuff, and she knows it off the top of her head. Yeah. No, I thought that those ethics meetings were just a way to put the fear of God in everybody. I'm like,
Well, I did.
Well,
That worked.
all right.
Especially since you're not necessarily elected, and, you know, you're trying to, not that intention it absolves you of any OMA, but it's, yeah, it goes back to everything you do is recommendations to another body that will cut the check, that will decide to spend the money.
Yeah, and your budget really is planning's budget. It's really planning's budget.
Hmm.
You're a line item of planning's budget. I don't talk to each other, have a good time.
that would open up a lot of opportunity.
Don't go too crazy, but
If you're unsure, have Josh check with Joanna.
it might,
You can always get an advisory opinion from the ethics commission if you thought you personally were,
Mm.
you know, doing something you should, but, yeah. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming.
Let me know, like I said, I'm happy to come to every meeting till you figure out all your process stuff. If you want the help, I'm happy to help them. This is the good stuff. This is so much more fun than some of the stuff I work on all day. Yeah. Yeah, my land trust actually went as far as making sure that when big developments came through the open space land, it's covered by conservation easements. Yeah.
You were in Annapolis, right?
Yeah. Yeah. All our parkland, historic parks. I got other organizations to hold the easements, so
Mm.
that was one of the last things I did, was make sure we protected that land.
Yeah, we get a lot of people coming to us. Some version of, I'm afraid it's gonna turn into condos. There's
Mhm.
a lot of that.
Mm.
And so it's nice to be able to help. You know, preserve Coventry's character.
It's what you see on the various social media pages all the time. It's keep Coventry rural.
Mm.
And,
Look at that old golf course.
don't know how to do it.
Which golf course are you talking about? The one right off the bike trail?
The abandoned golf course, Station Street. Yeah, Station Street.
Oh, I
There's
didn't know.
there's a condo development there.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
trying to remember the name of.
Oh,
Birdie, Birdie Lane or Birdie Court.
Yeah.
all of
Yeah,
them,
something
But it's
like
all
that.
golf
I used to
and
play there.
forums,
Yeah.
terms.
A nice piece of land.
Over there, yeah.
Linda would probably know it.
Yeah, it's a nice piece of land. I think it's stuck
She's
in
up that way.
probate or some such thing. I have tracked down the owners at some point. But, it's, Mother Nature's taking it back. It's gonna be really nice. It's sort of, not even early succession
Really,
forest right now, but
Yeah.
it's kind of cool to see it,
it'd be very
growing back
interesting
in.
to see that seed bank.
It's got some wetland on it.
Yeah.
It's right, against the, like, trim.
How many acres is it?
It was only nine.
Nine
It
holes.
was a
Yeah.
9-hole
Yeah.
course.
But I would think, gotta be at least 30 then, right?
I'm just thinking New England,
10.
Totten.
Something like that, but in an area that is definitely under
Mm.
development pressure.
Mm.
Where's
The
that?
other problem we have is just, there's a Grassett property, which is up in the Black Rock area. And we can't really do anything with that property, it does have a trail on it, but there's no parking. So. We can't have hikes there, we can't do regular activities, because there's no way people can park there. So. It's another issue that we have to,
Well,
so
we
we
could have
have no
gotten that,
money to make a
right,
parking.
there was a
area.
parking area we could do, but we couldn't get that piece of the Boxdale property
Right.
and that was in, Grassy property was in 2022.
So there's nothing that's cleared
Right,
of it.
we did have a neighbor who went out there and started
Clearing
tearing
it.
things down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, into wetland, I believe.
Into wetland,
Which is a
yep,
different
he
issue.
was bulldozing,
Oh,
Yeah.
dear.
Oh,
so we were lucky. we caught him.
So his kid could use his ATV,
Yep, so his kid could use his ATV.
Yeah. but we
And the
had,
neighbors could use their ATV. yeah.
we had all the draft, and we had a draft purchase and sales agreement, we had the appraisal, the scoring sheet, the conditions map, the map of the town-owned properties, aerial photographs, everything, we were ready to go, but that was die.
Yeah.
That was 2022.
And why did it die?
We couldn't get it, it got stuck when it got to. Oops. It got
We could-
stuck with. Miss. Oh, with Nick Quorum, yep.
Meaning you just never
Yep,
pulled the
because
trigger on it,
We
or?
did not pull the trigger on it, and again, it even says there, it's not necessary to acquire the Boxtel property because there's sufficient access to and parking off Montfort Street, and that wasn't the point, we needed Boxtel to get into the parking area on the whole thing, and that was 15 acres, and I think we came in 150,000 on that one. But this went back again, but like I just kept all the notes and I went back October 12th, 2022 all the way, and just
So
years.
it didn't happen because he said it wasn't necessary?
Yeah. He didn't know it was our recommendation, it just died. And that was a nice piece of property in the Howard area, and again, for
Where
people
we
that,
wanted
yeah.
to give access
In a built up
to
area.
It was a built up
people
area, in that area, there was a nice elevation up there, we cut,
pond.
and we cut the dam out of it. We
Mhm.
purposely said, we're not touching the dam, so that was Xed out of the property purchase, so,
Thank goodness. Yeah.
yeah.
I think, I don't know.
When it was beautiful, it would have been nice.
All right.
And actually, yeah, there's purchase and sales done.
You have everything in one document.
I try to keep a lot of, I keep a lot of the appraisals on this, just because I can just pull them up easily. Like this is, I think this is Trusted Trails appraisal, this is Menday,
I'm just seeing you scrolling through.
yeah. I was trying to remember,
Don't come by my office.
we used a different appraiser for, the Montfort Street, I think we used something from South County. Because we couldn't get. Who did it? Oh, Southern appraisal in Narragansett, yeah.
Any issues of interest, just to close things out for our next.
If you want to know where any interest accrues on our 2.9 million and how and if that can be accessed in any way.
We already said doing the budget,
Yep, doing the budget.
drafting, starting to draft
Drafted
our
that,
own
yep.
budget for next year.
So we've got ads, December agenda, yep.
We need to do, make sure we can get the appraisal, the before and after appraisal for the Pettigrew property. We'll get authorization for that. What if we can't?
I don't know, let's be optimistic at
Okay.
this point.
If you reach out to the police, you might want to go with Keith Clark now, because he's the patrol, he's taking over for DeSisto. So now DeSisto
I
is
think it was-
captain of the detectives, he's moved off of patrol. So Keith Clark would be the patrol captain.
Is it Detective Captain? I want to make sure I'm calling him the right thing. in
I
my
believe
email.
so, yeah, because Keith Clark, I believe, was detective lieutenant, so he kind of moved over from, I believe, detective division into patrol, but it's a promotion because now he's a captain.
Yeah,
And DeSisto has now moved to detective captain, so a different division, probably a promotion.
yeah,
So
yeah, that's what I'm.
so we can indoctrinate Captain Clark into, because I will now I'll have to change everything that I talked to Captain DeSisto or get Clark on board on everything, which includes, ATV stuff and,
Yeah. the fire.
that's right, right,
Bicycles with
right,
motors.
which will be difficult to catch and enforce.
But at least
But
yeah, the issue is not, like, we know it's challenging to enforce. but
Really,
the
the more-
intent is the point.
right, is it
Yeah,
more presence that they have, the
Right.
more of a deterrent. So then it would be up to the captain to be able to articulate what kind of presence they can have.
Yeah.
What is,
that's in this
and,
email.
and it, realistically, I've had people down at Briar Point is a big issue. I've had people that have told me, I've called, because I always tell them, call the police. When you see
Yeah.
activity down there at night, you aren't supposed to be
Call
down there,
police.
call the police. Sometimes the police come right away, sometimes they don't come at all, and it's very possible that whoever's on patrol is out on drug calls
Yep.
and
But when they do
other
the
calls.
change of shift, they can also tell the next shift, hey,
I
Right,
think there was also a bit of misunderstanding. I don't know what happened, but we had a lady a few weeks ago email us about Bowden, who I guess always goes on Bowden, called the police, Coventry police about ATVs, was told, I'm assuming by the dispatcher, they would defer to DM for, which is not DM's jurisdiction.
right.
So I don't know what happened there, but I sent that over.
But that's
to
a conversation to have with Robert.
Yeah, so I sent that to him last night, and this morning he said that he's gonna personally speak to Captain Clark, yep. And a patrol officer response would be warranted to at least try to intersect the operators and identify them.
Right.
So it is Detective Captain, it's in his email signature.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Can we also add to the agenda, seeing how we can get those craters filled in at Whipple?
Yeah,
Because that's gonna be a huge problem.
especially snow is kind
No,
of.
don't we already have trail maintenance on the agenda?
We do, but we need a backhoe or something to fill
We
this thing. This thing
do
is,
that by
this is
hand.
like 4 foot by
Huge.
4. It's huge.
There's several of them,
Yeah,
Dug out.
Yeah.
They
you could put a crypt in there.
Fill
with a
it.
deep- Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know when they do it.
They did it
down.
over last summer,
'Cause-
cause when I was taking a group through there, there's a shovel left in there.
Oh, what's the, 'cause
Yeah.
Whipple's pretty well traveled, like.
Yeah,
people-
well, that's the interesting thing.
Yeah,
And the good thing is whenever we're out there and we put up signs saying no ATVs or whatnot, we get people stopping us. 'Cause I
thank,
think
yes,
yeah,
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's still one left when we went out.
Yeah, we didn't
wow.
lose all the
Good.
signs, yeah.
Yeah, another,
Is it 10 feet high?
Yeah,
Yeah, but it was, the one that was missing had also been 10 feet high. So I don't know how they got up there to get it off, but it was gone.
what does the ordinance say? You don't need to look it up now, but that might
Oh,
be
yeah.
something to make sure that the ordinance says if they can't do it, to have ATVs so that they have something to enforce, like get that.
Well, this is
Just
the
like
ordinance
your-
to create us. We would need the laws signed from town property.
Just like you can't use ATVs on the greenway, right?
Right.
There's an ordinance. for
Yeah,
that, so
or
it's the same.
parks,
For
general
parks,
parks.
it's the same ordinance.
Yeah, so
We need
no,
other
there's-
people.
no, it is there.
Yeah, because now they're looking at e-bikes too. On the-
Well,
on the
yeah, for the
greenway.
greenway, it's not specifically ATVs, it's just any
Any
motorized,
motorized Vehicle, yeah.
right, which now has to be changed because it's allowed. Class 1 e-bikes are allowed.
Right,
The
but not-
state allowed it, so
Yep.
now we have to catch up.
Yep.
Which is something Captain, just now Detective Captain Sisto
Yeah,
and I
that's
have
right.
talked about. Yeah, just to stay current with
Yeah.
state law. Where's the large poles above the ramps?
They're
I
in
have a
the
bike, I wanna
middle.
go jump.
Yeah, very funny.
Where are they?
I don't know. Should I tell you?
No, I have no motorized.
No,
whatsoever.
so if you go, they're basically along the main trail where there's kind of that open like picnic area.
Which
Seems to
property?
Whipple.
Whipple.
Yeah,
Okay.
The big open area.
Getting in off of,
if you go in off the, through the meadow,
yes.
You park in the
Yeah,
regular-
yeah, yeah,
park 'em.
yeah, yeah.
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 you Go down. You could either go down,
Actually,
it's
probably
several
easier-
trails.
It's probably easier to describe it to you this way.
yeah,
If you entered Whipple from the bike path
Okay,
on the far north east,
Yeah, not Sandy Bottom.
right, not Sandy Bottom.
Yeah.
There's an entry to a trail and you go down that trail, take a right. And then there's a hill that goes like that. So they like to go down the hill as fast as they can and hit this open area. They dug out all these things and made bumps and stuff so that when they get down the hill, they can fly around.
yeah.
I
which
can
makes
go
it
out there
very
and show you
nervous.
if you want.
Again, it's a matter of, can a piece of
Right.
machinery get in
About-
there?
Like there-ish,
That would be hard.
Okay.
yeah,
That,
like there-ish.
that would, yeah.
An ATV could.
Yeah,
I wonder if you can get it like a plow or something on an
you
ATV.
can.
I'm sure
Yeah.
you can.
So
Yeah.
we confiscate the ATV and
And then
then,
we can use.
Give it to
to
the
manage
police
our
department.
properties.
well, it absolutely becomes our property, for it's a management tool.
Well,
Providence
a
did that.
Bobcat can probably get in there, right?
It would have to be a very small one
Yeah,
and it's a long way to travel, but I think you'd need
You
like,
need like
seriously,
corduroy road to get them in there.
You
They
need
would
like
do
the-
more damage getting it in there.
the
than-
ATV would be a better option, actually.
Hmm.
And like I
If they
said, if
dug
we
it
could,
out by hand, it's possible to fill it in by hand.
Yeah.
Bunch of us go out there with shovels, or no shovels, honestly. Let's go.
You do remember how old I am.
I have nothing to say. Because I will incriminate myself.
The 20-somethings on the board can go.
Hey,
Well, just.
we can probably
not to
outshovel
make this
them.
drag out any longer, but if any of you are in touch with the Boy Scout troop. If you're not, maybe get in touch with them and just put something in their ear that if any scout comes through that's looking for a Eagle Scout project. They should come and talk to, they don't have to talk to everybody, they can talk to
Yeah.
you. And now suggestions for projects that, not necessarily, hey, go fill in this big hole,
right.
but,
Yeah, we've
you know,
got plenty of stuff. about
yeah, it's stuff that, I mean, it's not necessarily, the way it's been described to me is that an Eagle Scout project does not necessarily have to be something that. It can improve the community, but really it's a scout opportunity to gather, show leadership and gather their fellow scouts together and direct them to do something. So if it's, as long as the project accomplishes that, then that's good, so.
Do we have people who have to do community service?
Yeah,
We did have one guy inquire.
We did have
So
one
I
guy.
mean, that's certainly.
in-
the library
Fire.
turns people away to get somebody to come and ask.
Every once in a while, somebody will call me because they have either court mandated community service or something like that. I can touch base with Josh and
But there's,
see if there's anything that is, I typically don't because my guys are pretty much able to keep up with what they have, but you have unique areas that my guys can't get into without just walking a quarter mile in. It's you can get machinery in there, it's a lot easier, or a truck or something like that, but if it's just only walkable, then it's harder for my guys to get in, but it might be easier for somebody
We had talked
Major.
about
do community
the
service.
little bridges across the wet areas
Right.
and Bowdoin and so forth, that would be a good eco
Just
scout
that project,
project, yeah.
So the Sullivan entry that's
Yes.
eroding away.
And by community
Yeah.
service, I was thinking of the ones, not people that were in trouble, but, that need credits for things.
Mhm.
The library gets a bunch of Nathaniel
Like high
Green.
schoolers or
Get
Conservation
high
projects.
schoolers, confirmation,
college, some colleges.
Mhm.
some
require it.
colleges require it, karate schools require it,
Karate schools.
Mhm.
they do.
Part of the philosophy of the starting.
All right, any other discussion, because I hear no public comment, or are we ready to adjourn? I hear a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, meeting adjourned at 8 of.
Agree.
Thank you all.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.